Church of God in St. Joseph. And then the pledge will be held by Commissioner Mike and the Chair. Please stand.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather in this place, we would thank you for this day and the purposes that you have for it. God, I pray that you would give each leader here the wisdom that they need, that hopefully comes beyond themselves. And I pray you help them as they do the work of this county. I thank you for each one that has agreed to serve us, and thank you for them. Thank you for the blessing of living in this county. We thank you for all that you're doing here. We know there's a lot of challenges before us, and I pray, Father, that you would help, again, this group make the best decisions for your people. Thank you again for this county that you've blessed us to be a part of. We don't pretend as we come in here to have all the answers to very, very complex issues, but you do. And so we would, in the beginning of this meeting, ask for your help today. Pray you bless each leader. We thank you for those who serve us, whether it's law enforcement or the first responders, healthcare workers. And Father, we pray together that you would just break the back of this horrible virus and help us to move forward as a people. Again, thank you for a chance to be here. Help us to make the decisions that will move us together as a county forward. And we pray in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Mr. Vice Chair, before they call roll, I'd like to just ask everyone to keep in their prayers. Last night, there was a shooting involving a suspect and a state trooper down in Niles. If we could all keep them in our thoughts and prayers as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Bell.
Here.
Curran.
Here.
Freeling.
Here.
Harrison.
Here.
Pinkelman. Majerick.
Here.
Meeks.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Ballrath.
Here.
Werfel.
Here.
Yarborough.
Present.
Elliott. Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you very much. You've all been sent the minutes for the September 23rd, 2021 meeting. Would I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those nay signify by nay. All right. Madam Clerk, Communications.
You received the following 2 packets of communications. You should have them and for your review. So you have a packet 1 and a packet 2.
All right, thank you. We are now going to have a presentation for the reapportionment update from our clerk, Sharon Tyler.
Okay, ready?
Do you want to use the podium?
Yeah, because we got slides. Do you have slides? Sorry. And I'm doing 1 first, right? Okay. Thank you for allowing me to give you an update on the Berrien County Apportionment Commission. Every 10 years, we have a census report and we do redistricting. So what happened is in 2018, Proposal 2 created the new Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. And that commission, which is under the Secretary of State, does congressional, state rep, state senate seats. When the Proposal 2 was created, it did not touch the county commissioners or the courts redistricting. Saskeo still handles for the courts, like the Court of Appeals. They will handle that. The County Apportionment Committee consists of 5 members. It is the clerk, the treasurer, the prosecutor, the Democratic chair, and the Republican chair. We had our first organizational meeting on April 30th, and I was the lucky one who became the chair of this committee. So I'm speaking to you today. During the first meeting in April 30th, we sat there and decided the procedures, the process. We spoke about the state software program, reviewed what the process is into determining each of the maps. All the notices of these meetings have been posted on the county's website and at each county building. Where we came into a problem this year with the census, which is different than previous years, the census official numbers came out on August 12th. The Secretary of State stated that these were not the official numbers. She confirmed that the dates were September 16th. This year, I've been blessed being the president of the Michigan Association of County Clerks. And a lot of counties within the state of Michigan, Ingham, Livingston, Midland, hired their own attorneys and stated that the official date should be the census date of August 12th. So the County Clerks Association hired Warner, Norcross, and Judd, and we wanted to get to understand it better. And they also confirmed with the other counties that we should be following the August 12th date. Well, the state of Michigan took it to the Michigan Supreme Court and asked for that to be ratified. It was denied, but they're still continuing with the September 16th, which has created a lot of new twists for us. So we're kind of playing with the apportionment group, two different categories with dates. Last meeting which we had, the last meeting which we had, we decided, and I think your county administrator sent you a notice, at a County Clerks Association meeting, Livingston County hired, Cole, Stoker, and Kotsky. They offered to help each county to file a petition to do three things. Petition to extend the time for the completion, a motion to waive the court fees, and a motion for immediate effect. We filed that paperwork last Friday. At this time, we're still waiting to hear whether we'll have the extension of time. So when you're looking at the maps, if we don't get the extension, knowing I don't want to go into a court case with Berrien County in the state of Michigan, we have to have these maps finalized by October 11th. Now on Friday, we will be meeting in this room at 1 o'clock. These maps and everything are on the county website for the review of the public. So what we'll probably still end up doing, if we don't hear from the attorney, on Friday, we will probably, the apportionment group will probably pick one of these four maps that we'll be reviewing to you today. If it is approved, and we probably will have to do this in a two-step process, our dates would be, what dates do we have? We have October, we'd have to approve it the second time between October 16th and November 15th. At this time on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, the only ones who can generate and provide maps are the 5 members from the apportionment group. The only 2 people who've been able to design them with the request by the members is Sheila Wrights, my election administrator, and Lex has been drawing maps too. We began with 8 maps. We have eliminated it now down to 4. I'm going to let Sheila go over the criteria in designing these maps. One of the things where we have changed on a lot of the maps, if you saw and you were at the meetings in the beginning, after watching the public talk and reading communications, a lot of your residents like District 1, District 2, we try to keep them in the same area. At the first meeting, we decided to stay with the number of 12 commissioners. That will not change. The reason for that, we did have a decrease in population in Berrien County, but we do feel that we have an increase in second homeowners. So it's not that you're representing less people, you're still representing more, because we have very few homes that are up for sale at this time. So with that, I'm going to let you discuss some of the standards. We cannot take politics or where you are residing into effect. We have to be biased. So you want to?
Sure. So MCL 46.404, County Commissioner Districts Guidelines for Apportionment. I believe that you have a copy in the packet in front of you. So real quickly, these are the guidelines. All districts shall be single-member districts and as nearly of equal population as is practical. All districts shall be contiguous. All districts shall be as compact and of as nearly square shape as is practical, depending on the geography of the county involved. No township or part thereof shall be combined with any city or part thereof for a single district unless such combination is needed to meet the population standard. Townships, villages, and cities shall be divided only if necessary to meet the population standard. Precincts shall be divided only if necessary to meet the population standard. And residents of state institutions who cannot by law register in the county as electors shall be excluded from any consideration of representation, and districts shall not be drawn to affect partisan political advantage. So those are the guidelines. So the very first map that was on top of your packet is the current map as it stands.
Let me make one comment. One thing in the criteria when we're building maps, cities should remain whole. So we have to always, if they're going to be anything divided, it would be a township. Cities should have to stay whole, otherwise it's rejected, or you might find yourself in the Court of Appeals. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So the top map on your packet was the Berrien County current map developed in 2011. If we were to use that map with today's 2020 census numbers, the variance is 19.9%, and by law established by a Tuscola County court case appealed to the Michigan Supreme Court, the variance can only be 11.9%.
Now, the previous map was done 10 years ago. It has 2 errors in it. And it would be in the Niles area over by the airport. They created an island over by the airport. So this map could be definitely challenged in the Michigan Supreme Court. So you could not duplicate it due to those 2 errors that the members of the apportionment committee realize at this time.
Karen, ask a question.
Sure.
Annex land, is that considered in,
But they still have to be adjoining.
so like where Indec is building down in Niles, because that does not,
But that index is in Cass County.
right, that's why I wondered, is
So
it
that,
considered part of Niles or not?
that Cass County would have to do it for that district. Now, if you were on the states group, you might consider that as you're doing state rep, state senate, or congressional, but it would not affect you in a county.
Okay. Because
You can't represent Cass
Annex
County.
in another county.
Right, and you can't represent Cass County.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So one other housekeeping that I wanted to bring up, in front of you, you will have maps that are labeled Amy's map number 1 renumbered. The reason why there are names on there is because the Apportionment Commission adopted rules of procedure and it said the author of any map would put their name on the map. You will see my name on several of the maps. Not that I drew the map, but I took into consideration the ideas from the Apportionment Commission. But since I did the actual work, I put my name there. Okay, so we're going to look at Amy's map number 1 renumbered first. That's what's up on the screen. So you can see, and the reason why it says renumbered is because when this map was originally submitted, the district numbers were not where you see District 2, it was labeled District 6. And in an effort to keep costs down for the local clerks and voter registrations and keep confusion for the residents to a minimum, they just went through and renumbered it to reflect the current district numbers for that area.
And the other thing you have to keep in mind, when we began with 8 maps, we had, some maps would had about 18, 17 splits. We're probably down to anywhere from 1 to 4 splits, which is not a consideration, but it is a consideration as a cost in developing ballots, and also it removes any confusion to the voter.
So on this particular map, there are 2 precinct splits or voter tabulation districts called TBDs, or TVDs, sorry. They occur in Lake Charter Township and Niles Charter Township Precinct 2. The Niles Charter Township split is something that will be in every map because it's the area out by the airport that has to be joined with the city because it has to be contiguous. So we can't get away from that one.
And the other thing with the Niles area, you're looking at population, let's say about 11,000 for the city, about 12,000 for the township. The township surrounds the city and it's not square around it, so that would create more splits. I'm sorry to keep on ad-libbing into your speech.
You're fine. So the variance difference for this particular map is 9.49%. If you are looking for how to figure that out, the first couple of pages after this, it gives all the demographics. Right here, it'll say in the variance column, it's a plus or minus number. The easiest way to figure it out is you take your highest positive number, add it to your lowest negative number, and then you have to be within 11.9%. This, like I said, this map particularly is 9.49%. The other pages that you're going to see here, and I apologize, I'm scrolling down. Let's just look at District 6 here. It says Benton Charter Township, and it has in parentheses part, voter tabulation district, Benton Township 3. That is a whole voter tabulation district. That is a whole precinct. That precinct is not divided, but it will say part because the other part of Benton Township precincts are in a different district. It is actually in District 3. So that, even though it says part before the Benton Township 3, it's not divided. Now, one that would be divided, if you look at District 8, it says Lake Charter Township part, the voter tabulation district, and then it says Lake Township 1, and then it says part again. That means precinct 1 is divided. Okay, so that's, when you add those all up, you end up with the 2 splits that we talked about. Okay, so let's go to the next
I
map.
believe the Lincoln Township clerk is not in favor of that one.
Yes, this is the map that,
At the last meeting we had last Friday, we had many of the local clerks review the maps, and at the end, they will have to put the street index in it. And they gave us their views on each map, what would be easier for them to work with, and felt it represented their municipality. And that's something that the board takes into consideration.
This one?
yes.
It's a lot to take in.
Sure, I don't have my papers,
Oh.
so I can see, but
Thank you.
on District 9, which is mine right now, under the new one, are there any cities or villages split?
I don't have,
There are no cities or villages split, I believe.
On 9?
yeah, I don't think we have one city split.
No.
Well, I know, but I mean like Three Oaks, because Three Oaks
And
is
Three
township.
Oaks City and Three Oaks Township lost a lot of population. Chickamee Township lost a lot of population. Hager Township lost a lot of population. And that is probably why you're gonna see things tighter than before, especially you've got some loss, but I don't believe you really lost population. And that's why the board felt that we should stay at 12.
The lady census lady called me as county commissioner, and she wanted to know why, my district, City of New Buffalo and Chickasee Township, and New Buffalo Township was, only at, 28%. It said that we needed to, and I go, we're at 100% because we have 72% non-residents.
And I
in
also,
there. So we are 100%. She said, I didn't know that.
I am very uncomfortable with these numbers because we had a pandemic when the census was taken too. And also, it was very new for people taking the census. because it was all online. My father does not get on the computer, so I had to help him, like, hey, this is how you fill it in. So I think that's created a lot of lower numbers, and I feel my vote to leave it at 12 was due to that issue. Go ahead.
Okay, so the next map is Plan number 4. It's no river crossing without a bridge. That is what was taken into consideration with this one. I think in the current map, District 6 is comprised of Royalton Township and Sodus Township because there's not a bridge that directly connects Royalton Township to Sodus Township without leaving the district and going through Benton Charter Township. Sodus was joined with Benton Charter Township. The variance on this map is 11.18%. There are 4 precinct splits. They occur in Waterville Township, Orinoco Township, which is District 8 and 10. You can see there's a little division there. That actually moves, the current division is on Shawnee Street. It's moved up to Lemon Creek because of population. Bertrand Township, and then again, the Niles Charter Township Precinct 2 is divided. Okay. Any questions on that one while we switch maps?
Now, talking about the state, on their state rep and state senate and congressional, I don't feel that those will be completed until January 25th. And it really concerns me for individuals filing, candidate filing, taking applications, because they have to place their number in for their district. And with us moving forward and everything, what we're doing with the dates, at least if somebody wants to run who's sitting in this room today, they will have a number and they will be able to file once this is completed.
Okay, so, yep. So our next map that we're going to look at is Plan number 5, entitled Coastal Communities. The idea was given to join like communities that go up along the coast of Lake Michigan. So you can see that District 9 looks very different than what it currently is. There is 1 precinct split in this proposed plan. That is Niles Charter Township Precinct 2, and the variance difference is 9.66%.
And I think that one had only 1 split.
Yeah, the split
That
that
one
we
would
couldn't get
be-
away,
The best for election purposes. But then when we had the state, it would be a mess again. Usually when you're doing these maps, you already know what the state is going to do. We're going into this blindly, so we're trying to be prepared.
Let's do this one more time here. So the last map or proposed map that the Apportionment Commission is looking at is Plan number 6, squared off east and west. Again, you can look at this map and see that it is a lot different around District 2 than the current map is. This map has 4 precinct splits. St. Joseph Charter Township Precinct 4, Galeen Township, and Weesaw Township. That's where District 11, the green has a skinny line that goes up. Now those splits are caused along school district lines. So it's not going to create an extra ballot style for the local jurisdiction and the cost involved in that, but it is split. And then the 4th split is the Niles Charter Township Precinct 2. And the variance on this map is 9.99%. Any questions?
Which one's the most likely to get approved?
I would say the local clerks prefer the
Plan-
coastal
Yeah, Plan 5.
map. They think that
Plan
would be the
5.
best. It has only 1 split. It's out of all the maps, it's the only one with 1 split.
And while precinct splits are.
But I'm not saying that's what the board's gonna vote on.
Right. Precinct splits are part of the guidelines. It's lower on the totem pole. But we know that we can't keep all of our townships whole. So
We tried, but with population decreases and the census numbers we had to deal with what was dealt to us. What we also do, just to make sure that our software is right, we have the state software program. Also, we use Dave's redistricting software, which I know the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are also using. And we compare the two maps before we get the final approval so that we find that there are no changes within the population and they have matched. So we do have matched. What will happen probably Friday, we will probably eliminate more maps or choose a map. It probably depends on what we hear from the attorney, and hopefully the Court of Appeals will rule today or before 1 o'clock on Friday. That will make the decision. So we may have a decision and on Friday on these maps. So if you have comments, please send an email to me and I will make sure I give it to the board for review. It doesn't mean that you'll be heard or not, but at least your opinion will be out on the record, and you're welcome to show up at 1 o'clock on Friday in this room. I hope that answers everybody's questions. I know it's confusing and it happens every 10 years, so I know it was more challenging 10 years ago. I do know some counties like Allegan, they went from 7 to 5 commissioners, and they are done. Some are done, and a lot of counties will be done probably by tomorrow because a lot of us are very concerned about these two different deadline dates. Yes, me. I'm sorry.
Sure. I don't quite know what happens with the state put together that panel. Do they look at these? Do they have anything to do with
No,
this?
they have nothing to do with it. They are not even looking at when they're creating their
They
map.
just watch federal. Is that what you said?
They
The
did
senators?
congressional, state rep, and state senate.
Okay, thank
Only
you.
those three.
Okay.
Commissioner Freeland.
So my question with regards to these maps, do you take into consideration school districts?
We
I know-
try to, and if you saw that one map, which was in the corner and it was over by Galeen, we did take in consideration the school. The schools, right now you gotta remember, we've got school of choice. But we also don't wanna see all the ballots switch. Unfortunately, with the schools, it's hard to create a square or a compact area. Schools are an interesting district. Let's just put it that way.
So, yeah, the only thing I was thinking about is, elections
Right.
and ballots and the number of ballots that have to
And a
be
lot of
made
times,
within a district.
schools like to hold their elections not on a primary election or a general.
Right. Okay, thank you.
No further questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, every commissioner is going to be studying this very intently. And there will not be a test later, so just to let you know. All right. We've come to the part of our meeting where we're going to have public comments regarding resolutions only. So these are public comments for resolutions only. And if you have anything that you'd like to discuss on these resolutions, please approach the podium and identify yourselves by name and locale. And you have 2 minutes. Darren,
21.
Darren, please don't start talking until you get up there. I would appreciate that. It's at the podium for 2 minutes.
I'm not using the podium because, this room has not been disinfected. As far as I know, we had a whole bunch of people in here a couple of weeks ago or whatever the time was, and I ain't doing that. So may I talk or not?
Yeah,
Okay. 23 is the ending number of this resolution. It says that the county has received $29.8 million and, for the rescue, American Rescue Plan. And then further down, we're hiring somebody to apparently spend the money for $3,500, and it wasn't put out on any, bids or anything. And I don't quite agree with that. If we're gonna spend money, it should at least be put out on, to, people can, bid on the cost and so on and so forth. Anyway. So, and anyhow, okay. That's all I've got to say is this thing should be looked at again, and it should be put out for bids to more than just this one organization, which I've really never heard of. Public sector consultants. Who's public? Who is that anyway? So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Consultant.
Are there any other public comments on agenda items?
Michael Haskins from Pipestone Township. I'm commenting on Resolution 322 about the Berrien County Broadband Initiative. I think when you have achieved this, you will have done some of your finest work as county commissioners. This is akin to rural electrification. It is that important, and thank you all.
Thank you. Any other public comments on resolutions for today? Don't everybody rush the podium at once. All right. Seeing that there's none, I would like to see if we could entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Do I have support?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported.
Who's the second?
Bob Harrison. Bob, right? Yeah, Bob Harrison. Sure, Bob. Do we need roll call?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Meeks,
Yes.
Ballrap,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Yarborough, Bell,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
Thank you. The next thing is committee reports. Jim, Matt?
Thank you, Ezra. We had our administration committee meeting this morning, and the first guest that we had was the sheriff and the chief deputy, Robert Boyce, and Commissioner Volrath would like to report out on that.
All right, Sheriff and Robert Boyce were there with us this morning. Numbers right now, he says, are all down. They have been for a couple of years. A lot of it has to do with the COVID. The inmates' books, we did have a couple of weeks ago, we had a little outbreak in the jail. They had some COVID outbreak, and they had to shut down the kitchen for a while because some of the inmates who work in the kitchen did not have COVID, but were around people in the jail who did. So they were doing 3 cold meals a day, and because they couldn't have the extra help in there, they couldn't do any hot meals. They're back doing the hot meals now, 2 hot meals a day. So they're back on track, and things are better there. There's more tethers out than ever now. I think a lot of that has to do with the COVID and the fact that we're so backlogged in the courts. And a big number that jumps out at you, calls for service on our contractual townships, which are New Buffalo, Niles Township, and Watervliet Township. New Buffalo Township had 97 calls for service. Watervliet Township, 81 calls for service. Niles Township, 450 calls for service. The sheriff has asked for maybe a couple more deputies down there because they can't handle everything down there with the folks they got right now. And it's, so they're going to possibly talk to the Niles folks about a millage to increase that number responsible for Niles Township. And so everybody got this big packet in their email, and there's some nice pictures in there of things that have happened with the sheriff's department, and you may review them at your leisure.
Thank you, Dave. Next, we had Dan Fetty come in and talk to us about the Jack Kinney property, and Commissioner Werfel would like to report out on that.
Thanks, Jim. The Jack Kinney property, we all heard about 2 months ago. They've been able to reach a solution that we will expect as a board to have that contract in front of us in the next 2 weeks. That it's being reviewed right now by council, but it basically is going to fix the problem on that landlocked property by reopening a portion of that Bennett Center Road that was closed, and so that they then have access, and we're going to give them the right of way to that property as well. So, and that's going to be the solution. So there isn't a lot of work that's going to go into the contract, and then it's a solution for both parties involved, us and the Kinney property. That's it.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions so far? Okay, then we had our county administrator, Brian Doucette, and his executive assistant, Annette, come in and talk to us. We discussed the board appointment process, and we also set dates for touring the hospital and juvenile center over on Berrien Center, and to take a trip down to Buchanan to see the AEP building. We had Kevin Stack from the road department scheduled, but apparently he got tied up and did not make it to our committee, so we did not have anything from him. And Mr. Vice Chair, that's our report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, it should just be noted that Mr. Stack did an excellent presentation to PHS. Mr. Stack from the road department.
Oh, that's why he didn't make it to admin. Okay.
I can concur. I did see him sitting outside but you know, PHS that's tough committee, you know, so.
As that presentation occurred, I did not interrupt. I just sat there and thought, I think we sent him to the wrong committee today. So we will forward the information to the admin committee.
Okay.
All right. The next report will be from Commissioner Yarborough, Chair of Finance Committee.
Thank you. We would like to start off with a report from Commissioner Freeling regarding the bid openings.
Yes, so this morning we had 5 bid openings. The first one that we opened was for the Dnr Waterway Grant. It was budgeted for around $300,000. We had sent the bid out to 29, 4 responded. They varied from $341,000 up to $652,000. So what we did was we sent this back to staff to review and to determine how to move forward with this. If you will recall, we had received some dollars from the DNR for some different waterway stations, like docking stations similar to what is by our courthouse right now. I believe there's a taxiing service that happens on the waterway. There is proposed 4 different docking stations along this trail, and along with the DNR grant, there was some matching funds from Cornerstone to make that happen. And so what we've done is advise staff to review those and to come back with their recommendations of how to proceed. So that was the first grant or bid that was open. The next one that we opened was for case binders for our courts in the criminal and civil division. And we sent it out to 4, received 2 back. Again, we forwarded that on to staff to review. The lowest bid that we had received was from EBCO, and it was for $9,511. The next bid that we opened again was for case binders. I think that was for probate. We sent that out to 4, received 1 response back, again from EBCO. That was $1,650. And then the next 2 bids that we opened were regarding to road projects. One was for Berrien Street in Chickamine Township. We sent that out to 9 and received 1 bid back from Whiteman and just Whiteman. They're no longer associates. We actually received 2 different dollar figures. One was for $23,500. The second one was for $18,650, with the caveat that if they were the awarded bidder for both of the projects that we opened for bids, that they would go with the lower bidded amount. And that is basically because of efficiencies that would be gained for mobilization and other costs, to be able to do both of those projects because of the proximity of it. The fifth and final bid that we opened for road project was Sawyer Road, again in Chickamine Township. And we sent that out to 9 bidders, received 2 responses. The first one was from Whiteman. The second one was from Abbenmarsh, and Whiteman's bid for that one was $34,600, and Abbenmarsh was $53,350. And so we sent that back to staff to go ahead and review and move forward as they see fit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Then I would like to let you know that many of our resolutions are waivers. And what waivers are used for, if it's a company that we've been working with, we want to keep doing that. We use parts from some things that are no longer totally working, but we want to keep our equipment and all in line. And so I would like to go over the waivers with you. One was Bitmat Products for the road department. It was an application of liquid emulsion. Another was Great Lakes Coating for parks. It is a Honda high output Little Wonder walk behind blower. And we have a couple of those already, and we use parts from things that are not totally working. Another was Central Michigan Paper, and that was for our printing department. It's a brand NCR paper, and they like the way it works through our printer and all. And then we had a waiver from Robert W. Bogner and Associates. It's an appraisal of services for property at 500 Circle Drive, Buchanan, Michigan. And then Pearson Construction Company review and analysis for property at 500 Circle Drive, Buchanan, Michigan. And then Pearson Construction Company review and analysis of the former Berrien General Hospital in Berrien Springs. And then there was a waiver from Hedrick Associates. It's for replacement of county data center backup power and cooling systems. It's something that we've been working on since 2000, well, forever. This is our mainframe, our cooling, air conditioning. It has to be done, and it's a big number, but it has to be done. And it because sometimes our machines are under 80, 90, 100 degree temperature when they're supposed to be, 72 or whatever, and it's a scary thing. It covers all of our equipment and statistics and all those things. So this Hedrick and Associates is the company to do it. And we will bring in electricians and specialists and all kinds of things. And the system cannot go down. It has to continue running while the other is being fixed. And so they'll be on the roof and in the basement and wherever it's needed. And that will happen. And that's why I wanted to hold on to that a minute to, give you some information. And there's much more if you want to know more. And then the final waiver that we did was on a smart sheet. It's a web-based data and project management health tool for collaborative work. Different departments can work with that. We had many people in and we got our business done. That's all I can remember. Thank you.
I was there for most of that, and I think you did a fine job.
Thank you.
Any questions for finance? Okay. Commissioner Harrison from PHS.
The committee met this morning and we reviewed our minutes and approved them. Also, we reviewed 2 of the resolutions we just acted on. One, the collective bargaining agreement for roads, and then also the complement change for the Sheriff's Department work with Brandywine Schools. We also talked about extending the contract with Lisa Ackenbrook. Jennifer, our recently hired finance person at the Health Department, has resigned. So we'll use a little bit more of Lisa's time than we originally expected. And then also talked about a proposed complement change and friend of the court, with Lisa Jardine being moved up into Watson's position. So we'll take a look at her old position and go back through the job description and probably end up repointing that. Most of our meeting was spent with Lex from GIS. He went into great detail that I could spend probably a half an hour talking about stuff that is very interesting. So we flip coin, and I do get the honor of talking about that. So we've got a couple things that will come to the board in the future with an agreement with the state of Michigan over data sharing. We had a couple requests from students working on their dissertations asking for some tax data files that would be used for their dissertation. So we did approve those. So there's a waiver of some minimal cost for us to do that work. A data exchange with the Southwestern Michigan Planning Commission, and then also some work with Eagle and the DHHS regarding Tanktown and a spill back in 2010. They're looking at some parcel data, so they're asking for some support from us. In the future, we'll be coming to you with a request from the Berrien County Conservation District regarding plat book information. And so that'll be under discussion here in a bit. We did talk about contracting out some work to do some mapping for property splits and rewrites with a vacancy. We've not been able to do that. And so we said, Lex to go out and get some estimates and bring it back to us at a later date. So we went into a great deal of detail on that and talked a bit about the work he's doing to support the redistricting project at the state level as well as at the local level here in the county. And then we did have a fascinating presentation from Kevin Stack from the road department. I kind of wondered what the personnel basis was, but it's work they're going to do with Benton Charter Township over reworking a road. And we did make some suggestions, not to poach on your responsibility, but they're going to follow up with us on that. So, yeah, so we'll let Mr. Curran handle that in the future. So, and that would conclude, we did also talk about some exemptions and appeals process for any COVID-related issues. And so we'll be working on that here in the near future.
Thank you. Any questions for PHS? And just as a point, thought I would let you know that Jim has been on PHS before, so admit can then decide on some steps also in hiring and that, and that's okay. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just saying, yeah. All right, thank you. Commissioner reports. We'll start with Mamie.
Help me.
There you got it, you got it. You're good.
I just wanted to shortly say that I attended the Michigan Association of Counties annual meeting at Mackinac Island, Park. It was valuable. I liked what happened. There were some subjects or seminars you would go to, and the next day it continued. It was so much. They put experts that were good at this or that. And all the counties are concerned about the amounts of money they're receiving, and they want to do it right. They want to spend it right, and so do we. So it was a very valuable meeting, and I think it's good that we as commissioners got a chance to spend some time together and get to know each other better. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I attended the NATS meeting, and all projects are going on as scheduled, and the call for projects is still open this month. So if anybody has any projects from cities or townships that they want to put forward to MDOT or anybody, get them forward now before the deadline. That's all.
I also attended the Michigan, the conference, MAC, with Mamie, Terry, Julie, and Rayante. And I was the dedicated driver. Well, I'm gonna tell you how this worked. I was supposed to drive there, okay, and I did. Riante broke his glasses, so I didn't trust him to drive back. So I was dedicated driver both ways. But I enjoyed the conference and what I really like they had. I went to one of the meetings about the brownfield and the housing. I'm kind of interested in the housing at this point. They're doing some great things with the brownfield and the housing. We have a unique problem in Barron County. Every county, every city has a different spin. What the problem is. Benton Harbor has a problem with the middle. New Buffalo, I believe, had a problem with the bottom. And one of the things was we don't. So some kind of way, I kind of think I didn't. Terry kind of held me back on this because I was kind of blowing a few little holes in what they were talking about, but I didn't get okay. But we got to have some kind of way we can have inclusion for every kind of housing that's done within the county. And I kind of think that was sort of kind of, but I got to kind of think Barron is a leader and Barron's going to come up with some solutions. And maybe we can go back and teach them how things are to be done. So that's all I have to say, but Rante, you owe me one. Thank you. Okay.
I got glasses.
I too attended the MAC conference, and to learn more about some of the committees that actually I sit on here in the county, I attended the breakouts for the 911 and for roads. Interestingly enough, on 911, they talked about the funding and how the methods of funding are all going to sunset at the end of this year. So there is currently, Rep. Cali has a bill on the floor that will extend that out to 27 and does raise some of the fees, and they do expect that all to pass. So we're not expecting any issues with funding, but that is in the works right now. And then on roads, I just learned more about Act 51 and the funding and how that works. That breakout was all about that funding. And then I also attended the 911 meeting this week, and that was interesting. Caitlin shared with us a couple of new softwares that are out there. One was for a towing service that can actually track them where they're at and headed to an accident or any of those things. That she'll be taking that on to, I think, the police chiefs for review as well. And then there's another technology that's called, what was it called? What 3 words? And what that does is it's used around the world right now, but it will track you in a 10-foot or 3-meter section. So if somebody's hiking on a path and something happens and they call, they'll be able to, with limited data, they can pull up the 3 words, and then EMS or whoever needs to find them can find them within 10 feet. Same with Silver Beach. If they're at Silver Beach, where am I? I'm somewhere at Silver Beach, right? No, now they can be tracked right to the spot. So it's just a technology that's coming in the future. They're not implementing it yet, but it's some neat things they're looking at to keep us current. That's my report.
Well, in difference to Don, and he forgot I was there, but second time he's dissed me today. So I was there with Don and Julie. And I won't mention everybody. We spent a lot of time talking too, didn't we? My biggest thing at the conference, I think, was just getting back together with a lot of our colleagues that we haven't seen in a while. We had a Zoom MAC conference last year. You know, they couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do things, so that was different. But being able to sit down with our colleagues, discuss the things that have been going on for the last year and a half in their counties. A lot of these people we used to see on a monthly or bi-monthly basis in our Region 3 here in Southwest Michigan. We have 14 counties in our district, and we were the most top represented district in the area in the conference this year. I think I have 40 members, 40 commissioners there. So we're always one of the top ones. And I think it's because of our SMART committee and our meetings every couple months. And we're going to get that going again here very soon as we get all these other things calmed down. But it was great conference, got a lot of good information, 911, broadband, and all the breakouts were very, very well attended and very, very interesting. And I thought, as opposed to the past where some of them didn't mean a lot to us, but I think all these were directed to most of the counties, so it was very helpful. And yesterday I attended the 911 with Julie, and I think she explained that pretty well. COVID committee yesterday. What can I say? That's all.
I also attended the 911 and just to hit a couple of the high points. Critical Connect, you heard us talk about that for quite some time. That is the 800 megahertz system in Indiana and the 800 megahertz radio system in Michigan being able to talk to each other. That's moving along. They tested the system and it worked. It worked well because we have fire departments that have mutual aid agreements with Indiana departments. And so communications is a key. The only thing holding it up right now is Indiana, the state of Indiana, to approve those talk groups being put into our radios. But it is progressing forward. The other thing that was also mentioned, I think Brian has also mentioned this as well, that Senator Losada's office was able to secure us $5 million for the construction of a tower down in the South County area. We've got some areas down there that the coverage could be better, and this will definitely help protect that coverage area. And by putting in another tower, that means we also have to simulcast all our radios. So it's like a $6 million price tag, and so her office got 5 of it for us. So we only have to come up with $1 million to complete the deal. So we were real pleased with that and excited. Did you want to add on that, Brian?
Yeah, so next week, Caitlin will be coming here with some reps from Motorola. She'll be talking with the admin committee. Admin, we're going to try and clear the decks because it is a high price project. It is one that's going to be complicated because you're blending state funds with local funds. So for admin, the real question is going to be, as with everything right now, supply chain issues are impacting this. And with the tower construction, with the technology that is associated with that tower construction, they're going to be asking the admin committee to consider engaging the contract process with Motorola, even though we still don't have the dust settled on the state budget. So it's one that I'll encourage staff to just focus on that one topic. It's a weighty topic and it's a high price topic, but it's also addressing gaps in coverage for 911 calls right now, and it's critical that it gets done. So I wanted to make you aware of that.
No, thank you, Brian.
Yep.
The last thing I have for you is Caitlin talked to us about staffing. You know, they're losing people all the time too, and you know they're in a little different ballgame. They have to have a time period of getting those people trained and up to speed. So she's got some vacancies. She's working to fill those. And this Sunday, they are going to go to 12-hour shifts. They talked to all their dispatchers, and they want to try the 12-hour shift to see how that works. And then there's also a couple of floater shifts in there that will overlap. But that'll start this Sunday, and we'll see how it works. That's my report.
Thank you.
So last Friday, I attended the Human Services Coordinating Council via Zoom. The focus there was the state budget and funding changes for the various nonprofit organizations. Then yesterday, I attended the health board meeting as your liaison. So there was a number of issues that they're dealing with. And generally, updated the board on the COVID numbers. So I think that's consistent with what we are hearing on the COVID task force. So good meeting, and everything's moving right along.
So I'd like to first thank Commissioner Meeks because, yeah, I had a little glasses incident and I did not want to drive 5 hours without these on. So I'd just like to thank you, and that's just an example of the good time that we had at Mackinac Island. It was really a great opportunity for us commissioners to really get away from home and really get to experience what other counties are doing, what other commissioners are doing to be leaders in their community. But it was also a great way for us to bond together as colleagues And that's something that I enjoy about being a commissioner is even with the business that we take care of and the politics that, flood our atmosphere, we're able to still get along as fellow colleagues and talk about, personal things and things going on in our lives and how we can apply that to being, leaders in our community. And it was interesting because there among over 300 county leaders, I was the youngest person there. And, it's just amazing the experience that I'm getting, learning from older people, learning from people outside of my area on how to be a better leader. And I am extremely grateful for this opportunity. And I just like to say thank you to my fellow colleagues that went with me there. I got a pad full of notes of the things that I learned in the breakout sessions. I went to strategic planning and how to apply ARPA funds and how to apply parliamentary procedure with Robert Rules of Order, and just a whole lot of other breakouts where I'm very committed and I'm ready to apply that stuff to how we do business here in Berrien County. So that was fun, and again, I'm very thankful for it. I also attended the Twin Cats meeting, which is a study on our Twin Cities area transportation. And they are really looking forward to what they could do, the Twin City areas, along with the county could do to help rectify and help supplement our transportation system. They want to know what we're going to do with Berrien Bus. I talked to the director of the Dial-A-Ride transportation system, and he's on board and he's ready to collaborate with us in any way we would like to do that. So that's my report.
Thank you. I'll keep it as brief as I can. I too attended the MAC conference, but before that, the Finance Committee, we had our trust advisory meeting, and we reviewed the pension plan and how things have been going. And I think it's been some time since we've had that opportunity because of the virtual meetings and COVID. And so it was nice to get that update, to talk with our representatives, to just review the plan, and things are going well and moving in the right direction. So but I just wanted to highlight a little bit about the MAC conference. So I did 3 of the breakouts. The first one was on ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act. I always get the acronym mixed up. But I would say to any of the commissioners, if you don't have access to the Michigan Association of Counties website, all of the presentations and slide decks are now on there. That one I found to be really interesting. And I want to thank this commission for approving today's resolution to move forward with the public sector consultants. They are one of a couple of approved vendors that we have to be able to do this very specialized work of figuring out how ARPA dollars can be spent within our community. And so one of the speakers for the ARPA spending review was Sean Carlson from Oakland County, and he's the deputy executive there, and they're using one of the other firms called Guidehouse, I believe. And one of the things that he said is everybody is going to sort of be trying to work with these consultants and get ahead of this to be able to figure out how these dollars can be spent, because we are on a fixed timeline of how these dollars can be utilized. And so I applaud the efforts that we've taken here, and I know that that particular vendor has been vetted, and I have confidence that we're going to have a great presentation. I was really pleased with what Sean had presented, and I won't go into details. I just encourage you to go to the website for MAC. The other ones that I attended was on creating affordable housing, some creative ideas of using land banks, brownfields. But one of the things that they did talk about is the difference between the definition of affordable housing and attainable housing. Affordable housing tends to fall under the HUD regulations. And attainable housing is for those individuals who may not qualify because of their income is greater than that 80 to 120% medium. And how do we find ways of building the attainable housing for those individuals who are coming, just starting, wanting to either rent or own their first time homes? And so that too is a presentation that's available. And last but not least, I cannot miss hitting on broadband, because I did attend the broadband breakout on new dollars and how to leverage those and to spend those. So I'd encourage you again to look at that presentation. Some of the other funds that they talked about besides the ARPA dollars is the Fiscal Recovery Fund, the Build Back Better Fund, and then the Capital Project Fund, which is only directed to states, but that's where I think that we could be talking to our legislators and encouraging how they would be spending those dollars to be able to benefit all of the communities throughout the state. So, Mr. Vice Chair, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And I did not attend the MAC, first time in 2 years. So I've been going there 3 years in a row. And we always had a good time there, but it was more than a good time. It was more, you learned so much from other county commissioners that maybe have had the experience of a been there, done that. And I think that was the most important thing about that. All right, Mr. Administrator, floor is yours.
Yeah, so Annette and I are going to walk you all through one resolution that was approved today, but is a genuinely fun one. So I just wanted to take a minute, and Annette, do you want to just read it into the record, or what's your preference?
Sure. I can do that.
Okay.
We had tried to arrange to have this individual here today, but as I'm not aware of them or anybody from her family being in the audience. This was resolution number B2110810 in honor of Hannah Roberts. Whereas it is important to recognize those that make great contributions to their community and have achieved great success. And whereas Buchanan native and 2019 graduate of Buchanan High School, Hannah Roberts is one who deserves that recognition. And whereas Hannah began riding BMX at the age of 9 and entered her first competition in 2012. And whereas in 2017, she competed in China at the UCI Urban Cycling World Championships, where she won gold and became the world champion at the age of 16. And whereas she was the first woman to land a difficult trick called a 360 tail whip in competition. And whereas she went on to earn her 3rd world title and became the first American to qualify for the Olympic Games in the BMX freestyle event. And whereas as a part of Team USA, Hannah Roberts won the silver medal this past summer in her sport. And whereas Hannah has served as an advocate for equal pay for women and is passionate about the sport and increasing female participation. And whereas Berrien County is proud to call Hannah Roberts one of their own. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners recognizes Hannah Roberts for her great success in the BMX arena and looks forward to hearing about her future endeavors for years to come. Be it further resolved that Hannah Roberts' life, actions, and contributions reflect most favorably upon herself, her family, her sport, the community of Buchanan, Berrien County, the state of Michigan, and the United States of America. And it is signed by all of the Board of Commissioners. I understand she's in town this weekend for a homecoming event. If anybody is going to that or is around that, I'd be more than happy to give this to them so they can deliver it to them, or we can send it to them to her in the mail.
Thank you. Mr. McCollins.
Okay. We are now at the point of general public comments. Those speaking may do no longer than 2 minutes and identify themselves by their name and their municipality.
Tony Benhart. So this, a couple of weeks ago, had an unfortunate incident with a couple of people at the road department. And out of that, unbeknownst to me, I was talking to the waymaster a couple of weeks ago after that, and he said he could no longer talk to me. And I said, why?
And he kind of explained why. But yet no, he carries a cell phone. He has a business card that has a cell phone number on it, but he's no longer supposed to talk to me. I'm supposed to call 911 and go through the, by that time, what's happening, truck may be gone or whatever. I drive probably 200-300 miles a week just driving around this county. And I see stuff, and I've had a good relationship with Don for ever since he's been a Waymaster and before that. And I think it's an infringement of my rights that I cannot call him, but everybody else can. There was no incident with Don. It was somebody else at the road department due to the fact they were seal coating roads that were being used by 17 trucks an hour, using those roads as haul roads to haul sand. And I didn't think it was right that they wasted the money to put tar and stone on a road that was just paved 6 weeks before that, when the standard is a year to year and a half later.
Anyone?
I'd like to get it over with. Good morning, I'm Robin Graffinius. I'm from Lincoln Township, and I know you've all seen me several times before. So I don't know if I've ever actually said that I'm actually for freedom to wear a mask or not wear a mask. I'm not an anti-masker. I'm not a pro-masker. I don't care what you do. Just leave us and my children alone. And that's my feeling about it. So I find it interesting that Rayton, yeah, we knew from the beginning that you were a masker because you wouldn't, at the initial meeting at the band shell, you gave us the all the information about you personally and that you're 23 and you're the youngest, and we know all that. But it was totally a political answer. And Bob, it's nice to see your face today because it was masked yesterday at the health department meeting. So I think we're getting the gist of where you're going. Seems very political to me that you don't have an opinion apparently on whether you should mask or not. And that's actually fine too. It's just, I'm pointing out the fact that it seems a bit hypocritical that depending on where you go, whether you wear a mask or not. But yet, again, you wouldn't help us to get rid of the mandate to mask our children. So I just really feel it's important to point out your personal beliefs. And when everyone pretty much else here was against the masking mandate, and you were wishy-washy, both of you. So just wanted to let you know that it was pretty apparent even back then. I also have a couple of interesting things, or one other interesting thing that I want to continue to ask about. And I've not heard back from anyone. It's time to fire Courtney Davis. I've asked and asked and asked every time I've been up here to get rid of her. And it seems to fall on deaf ears. I keep asking, what applications you've received. I've asked questions about, can she be replaced before, can she be fired before she's replaced? I've never gotten any correspondence or any answers to any of those questions. And Bob, I know that you're also my commissioner, and I left my email address yesterday. So if you want to get back to me on that, that would be great. Thank you.
Michael Hoy, City of Benton Harbor. I passed out this information to you earlier in regards to the celebration of the oldest church in Benton Harbor turning 155 years old. We're celebrating on October 16th. I don't know if you really got a chance to look at this, but who Mr. Saunders is. Mr. Saunders is an incredible human being who actually, I'm going to cut to the chase. If you ever heard about the shot heard around the world, he was the one who was chosen to actually, let me read it right here. At the time of the assassination of President Lincoln, he was stationed at Fort Saunders in Knoxville, Tennessee, where he fired the nation's symbolic symbol as the military token of respect and the honor of the martyred president, Mr. Abraham Lincoln. That's Mr. Saunders. Mr. Saunders' hall is located in our church. He was a Sunday school teacher. He was also the one who bought all of the property from Pipestone all the way over to where the Saunders lofts are now, the city center lofts and things of that nature. But also what he did in the military and also what he did out west and how he came back a multimillionaire and how he bought property in the city of Benton Harbor. And he's just part of the history that's going to be revealed of what we do over at the Legacy Group of Benton Harbor. Come be with us October 16th We're doing open houses where Blossom Time started. It's the house of Blossom Time as we re-blossom into something different into our district of Benton Harbor. October 16th from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Come be with us. Go to the Legacy Group's Facebook page. You can see all these great things about who these people were, who actually can, Mr. Clock, Mr. Hinckley, Mr. Sheffield, all of them, the Colbys, all of those were big high Masons. Actually, Mr. Sheffield was a number 36. You can only be a 32 when you come out of Europe, and how he was part of there's 3 secret societies that were in this church. And Mr. Upton does know how his family played part of that. So come be with us.
Thank you.
My name is Sean Hill. You guys probably know me from the first meeting, I take it. But I wasn't even going to be here, but I changed my appointment and what I had to do for work until a little bit later time. But I'm back. And the reason why I'm here is because I was approached by Commissioner Harrison after I pointed him out at the first meeting for not wearing his face mask. If you're going to make rules for other people to wear face masks in this area and you believe in it, you better be wearing it. So at this time, I'm going to ask you for your resignation from this commission, because if you're not going to believe in what you're believing in and you're not going to wear your mask at meetings, I give Commissioner Bell credit. He's wearing his mask because he believes in it. But you say you believe in it, and you approach me after the last meeting and say you believe in it, you better be wearing it 24/7 whenever you're out in public. Because if you're gonna make those rules, you need to be being an example, especially to our kids. I know the county rescinded their order, and I'm asking you again, as a commissioners, talk to our representatives, get this thing resolved. And I know there's a possible way. You got to be able to talk to them about getting funds rescinded from St. Joe schools or whatever you got to do, because something's got to be done. Our kids are suffering because of this. Yes. They have no voice. And I guarantee you take a roll on all the kids that really actually want to wear them and don't want to wear them. I guarantee you the majority of the kids don't want to wear these masks. I think there's a lot of teachers that don't want to wear their masks, but they're in fear of their job. I think people are afraid to speak up because they're in fear of losing their job. I'm just no trucker. I get the bird flipped to me every day. I'm a tough guy. I can handle this. I go through a lot of crap. I've been through a lot of crap in my life. And I'm telling you what, all this is affecting our kids, my kids especially. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. This is ridiculous. Do your job, speak to our representatives, and help us out from the state level if we can't do it locally here. All I got to say, I have to go to work now. Have a good day.
Thank you.
My name is Tracy. I live in Berrien County. After the last meeting where I gave where I lived and I got vandalized that very night, I don't give out where I live anymore. If you want to talk to me, you can come ask me afterwards, because I trust that you won't be the one that vandalizes me. But other people in the crowd, I don't know. Sorry. I'm up here to speak to the quarantines and how ridiculous they are. My husband is a school board member in the county. Last February, on the way home from Arizona on a 20-hour ride, we got phone calls left and right, parent after parent saying, I've been called to come pick up my kid at the middle school. Half hour later, I've been called to come get my kid at the high school. They've been quarantined. These quarantines are hurting our kids as much, if not more, than the masks. I had a mom crying saying, my 15-year-old boy cannot take another 2 weeks out of his math class. They are flunking their classes. And I don't know about you, but I mentioned this at the health department yesterday. What classes you all took in high school is not what our kids are doing. In high school, I never had a calculus class. These kids are taking calculus classes, advanced history. They cannot be out of school 2 weeks, especially the moms of boys. And I'm not trying to be discriminatory here, but there are some kids that learn better in school. I had a mom approach us telling us that her son had quarantined 5 times. You do the math. That's 10 weeks this young man was out of school. So my husband asked the $150,000 question of our superintendent, how many of these kids who have been quarantined got sick? How many? Like, I've heard our school board president say, if even one life can be saved, 0. Zero all the way through June, because once we started asking in February, we asked all the way through June, how many of these kids sat home quarantined actually got sick? Zero. If there is a reason why this is in place, it should be because it works, not because it's not working.
Thank you.
My name is Ruth Crum, and I'm from Niles, Michigan. I have written to each of you individually, had the courtesy with about 3 people who have replied. For your 3 people, thank you. For the rest of you, I don't know what you got to say for yourselves. I am against any mandates. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you think it works, fine, but do it consistently. Don't do it for show. Use your status as a commissioner to do what's right for our kids. For this young lady from Buchanan who has made something of her life and is going somewhere, there are thousands of kids in our county that could do the same thing, but you're robbing them of an education, a free education that everyone deserves. I'm against mandates, and I would expect each of you to be against mandates. It's a freedom in this country. When you think about commissioners not being able to do anything, I just read that Elkhart County in Indiana, I realize a different state, they voted not to apply for a grant that was going to help the health department reach possibly the Amish community, Hispanic community, and Black community in prevention of certain diseases. But tied to that was a bunch of COVID regulations. And the commissioner said, I'm not having the federal government come in here and tell me and our people what to do and how to run their lives. And that's what I expect all of us, all of us, to stand up for our rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, yeah, just in response to her really quick. My name's Alyssa Rawls and I live in St. Joseph. My daughter goes to St. Joseph schools. I have never spoken and I don't have anything planned, but this is all ridiculous. I'm sick and tired of these anti-maskers coming to every single meeting in the county spewing this nonsense. The kids do not care. The kids do not care about masks. The kids do not care about masks. The kids want to go to school and learn. They do not care about the masks. They're tired of being quarantined, but they're being quarantined because people aren't wearing their freaking masks at school. And they have parents at home telling them that it's wrong and it's the government that's telling them to do it. Oh no, freedom is going to die if you wear your mask. It's ridiculous. People need to grow up, put on their big panties, and actually take this head on. Teach your kids about personal responsibility, about wearing masks and getting vaccinated. You know, my great-grandparents grew up during the 1918 Spanish flu. They wore masks. They continued to wear masks into their 80s when they would go out places during flu season, cold season, because it is common sense that wearing a mask helps reduce transmission. It doesn't only reduce it for you, it reduces it for other people. So you need to stop pressuring these kids into thinking their freedoms are getting taken away when they're not. They wear a mask, they go to school, they come home. What you do when you're home with your kids is your business. But when they go to school and they're around other kids, they need to wear a mask. They need to follow the rules so everybody can get educated and everybody can just play nice. Okay? It's just, I'm tired of this ridiculousness. It's tearing our county apart. And it's more so evident now than it has ever been. And I'm just sad that our county can't get past this. And we can't just say enough is enough. Masks are the thing, and we're just going to deal with it and move on to bigger things. We have bigger things to worry about in this county than this.
Don't touch your mask when you're talking. You're getting germs on your mask.
Excuse me.
Lady, I could take my mask off if I feel like I've been vaccinated. And I feel it's safe to.
Please, ma'am. It is her, ma'am, it is her turn to speak.
It is you and it is people like you going around this county putting fear into other people. There is nothing wrong with not wearing a mask if you're at home and you're around certain
2 minutes,
people.
ma'am. 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know, I'm
Thank
done.
you.
I know. That's
Thank you.
also wrong to lie. Let's just say. How exactly am I lying? About most of what you said.
Ma'am.
Exactly, point out, what did I say that's a lie? I want examples. I want you to refute everything that I said. Tell me that it's a lie and give me proof. You say it's
Jim,
a lie. Give me
we'll just escort him out. You'll be escorted out. We're not gonna have this type of back and forth in a county board meeting.
I agree.
This is our county board meeting. We're here to do county business.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm not gonna be called a liar though.
Well, then you can be called a liar outside, but you don't take care of that in here.
Okay.
Then you can have your discussion with whoever you want outside, away from the board meeting is fine, but this is our board meeting and we have other people that want to speak. Thank you.
Well, hard to top that. Wow. Parent, the word parent, it's not a noun, it's a verb. Sorry, Victory Woodall. I don't live in this county. I should point out I live in Covert, which is Van Buren County. My kids attend school here. I do business here. But so yeah, I'm here. I'm one of those, as you call it, anti-maskers. But we're not anti-mask. None of us are. We are for personal choice, as a couple other people pointed out. We are not trying to strip your mask. We're not trying to strip your vaccine. We just really want personal choice and personal freedom. Like I said, parent is a verb. Parenting is my job. It is not the school's job. It's not the county's job. It's not the Board of Health's job. It's my job. It is my job to make sure that my children are healthy and taken care of. It is not her job either. I just want to point that out. So anybody demanding that my child put a mask on in school is not your job. It is none of your business what my child does. You keep your kids healthy, I'll keep my kids healthy, okay? So yeah, just enough with the fear. So I spoke yesterday at the Board of Health meeting. Mr. Harrison was there. From what I've heard, the county health department has a mask mandate in their buildings. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he conveyed to us. That's their expectation in that building. It doesn't make sense if that's the case because you'd think it would be countywide in every building. So I'd like some clarification on that. But yeah, so I'm really upset with Courtney Davis's mask mandate to start with and the way that she rescinded it, because the bottom line was money, okay? If I understand right, the health department's budget is like 23 million for the year. If I read the budget report right, that's what I got from it, 23 million. So 1.5 million is what the state threatened them with, and she caved, okay? Like, it's about money. Like, I'm sorry, if you truly believe that mask mandates is what should be done in our schools and you are standing by your convictions and the data, then $1.5 million should not change your mind, okay? Courtney Davis is awful at her job, okay? She's terrible. We've been calling for her resignation for a while now. I want to know how many other applications you guys have. If you're even looking at them, please answer those questions for us. Thanks.
2 minutes.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
Dnr Chair, Pipestone Township. This is still a bit different than what I usually talk about, but roads. A while back, I mentioned that my road has been redone. I appreciate it. They did a great job. But you're either on the road or you're in the ditch. Okay, Saturday, we had one person not only in the ditch, but in the creek. Went clear across the dotted line of the embankment, ended up getting wedged directly in the creek. Truck was clear across the creek. Okay, a year ago, I had one slide off my end of my driveway almost into the creek going the other way. You know, I'm afraid to even walk across the road to get my mail, to be honest with you, much less drive out of my driveway. And so they tell me this morning, Mr. Bailey did, that county roads, the speed limit is 55 miles an hour. Well, my driveway, and you're coming out of it, you're either going uphill, either way, and it's on a curve. I'm gonna get hit, there's no question about it. It's just a matter of time. So anyway, so much for my driveway and the roads, and I don't know what can be done about it, but it's not a good scenario. And like I say, ended up clear down in the creek. Okay, the other thing I want to mention is that there's an article in the Journal Era a while back about $600,000 be given to a property in Berrien Springs, which is basically private property. They're gonna build a building on this private property with $600,000 of public money. I think you better look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shearer. Anyone else?
I would like to speak. Hi, I'm Michelle Cavanaugh, and I live in St. Joe.
Ma'am, could you go over to the podium where those?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I haven't been here before. Sorry for my appearance. I kind of came in at the last minute. A group of us, I mean, there's more than this that are here today that have been burning the candle at both ends, just trying to keep up with the overreach of government in this county. And it starts here, and it starts at the county health department, especially in St. Joe, where we are under such overreach of our rights. And not only for our rights, for our kids. There's no, it makes no sense that if there is no county mandate at all for all kids go to malls, they go to bowling alleys, they gather everywhere. I don't see a county mask mandate there. Why do we not see it there? Because the county does not have the ability to do so, because your infection rates do not give you that authority. So someone needs to listen to us, do something. You can help at the health department, and you keep telling us a month ago or however many weeks ago it was when we were down at the other meeting spot, you said that we're listening to you, we're going to rescind our recommendation to the health department, and then the next week it was that you had no authority to do so. We had the authority to make the recommendation, and we feel like you need to listen. We're not going to stop. We don't care what you label us at. We're not domestic terrorists. We're parents, just like plenty of you are. And I know a lot of you agree with me, especially you. I misread you at the last meeting, and I really appreciate that. But please do something. We're not going to stop. It doesn't stop here. If we stop, it doesn't stop here. This has happened under our trusted watch, under these school boards, with schools that all of us grew up thinking that's who you could trust. You can't trust them anymore at all. And we are no longer asleep. We're awake, and we will be here. And the lady who was here who said that she can't spread COVID, she needs to read the CDC website. Even if you're vaccinated, you can still spread COVID.
It's your 2 minutes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I think the only one that hasn't spoke yet is Peltzer. I'm just going through the room here, you know. Adolph is a regular, and I don't want to disrespect Adolph.
Peltzer, Hager Township. I got my vaccine at Myers the other day, and they gave me a little card with my name on it and said, you come back on the 20th of September. I tried to find that card, so I guess I'm not eligible to get my vaccine, right? Now, who is paying for that? I keep hearing it's free, right? Free? Who's paying for the $40 I heard somebody say? Where's that money come from? Taxpayers? We're sending it into insurance? Why don't you say something about that? Now, another thing I want to know is I'm waiting for somebody to come down here, make sure that anybody that comes in here is vaccinated or has been tested. Now, you can probably hire somebody at the door over here. Show me your card. Make sure you're vaccinated. Now, mark my word, you guys are going to, well, it's coming. It should come. You know, I watch football, for example. You know, everybody's got to wear a mask. Now, these football players are out there beating the crap out of each other, right? Spitting on each other. But they don't have to wear a mask. But somebody sitting in the audience, no, he's got to wear a mask. He's just sitting there, just breathing, barely. These guys they're just beating the hell out of each other. Now, what kind of sense is that? Some people, you guys should have been wearing it when it first came out. You should have been wearing a mask. You made her sit 6 feet apart. That doesn't make any sense. Look how close you are to that guy there. You guys are right next to each other. Now, this is a propaganda put out by our government and the drug companies. They're the ones making the money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak that hasn't spoken? Keith, you're, I think, the last one standing.
It's already been said.
All right. Well, if there's no other public comments,
Can we do a second comment?
No.
no, you may not. Yes, Commissioner Wolfle.
I would like to know when the positions will close for corporate counsel and the interim health officer.
Both are posted. Neither have ending dates. Later today, I can put out an email to all of you just listing the number of applicants we've received thus far.
Yes, Commissioner.
I would like to thank Clerk Tyler for her presentation on the apportionment. A couple of these I really don't care for. I know I have no say in it. A couple of them.
You can write them, and if you want to send me an email, I'll share it with the board tomorrow.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Okay, there's no other business. Do we have any announcements and reminders? We have a BC bit starting in 20 minutes at Otto Grau. There's nothing else. We stand